When you discovered the law of attraction, you started to believe anything was possible. Life got better, much better. Now you want more, but it's not working. That's where the Manifest It Now show comes in. If you've been waiting for someone who can teach you the practical application to manifest quicker and easier while having more, turn the volume up, because the dynamic duo, Cassie Parks and Ginny Gane, are ready to teach you how to live the law of attraction like they do. It's time to laugh and learn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Manifest It Now. I'm here with Cassie Parks.
And I'm here with Ginny Gane.
We have a topic today for you. We're going to be talking about how to manifest something new when you have a full-time job.
I'm so excited about this.
Cassie even said, she's like, I've been wanting to do this. And I'm like, well, that makes sense because we got a question about it. So let's do it.
Oh, I love it. I'm excited. I'm excited especially because like my freedomversary is coming up. So, 7 years ago, I was like counting down the days and I was super excited and it wasn't so much counting down as it was taking care of everything so I could hand it off how I wanted it to be, when I left. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's going to be a really important part to bring in. Yes. What else, Cass, are you excited about? I know it ties into your freedomversary.
It does. I'm excited about Learn How to Manifest Money Live, which is happening virtually, which is one day I'm going to hang out with a bunch of you who want to learn how to manifest money. And I'm excited because I haven't done a live, even though it's a virtual, I still call it a live event, in a long time, in 3 or 4 years. And so I'm just really excited about the energy that provides and that's actually not true. I mean, I do the workshop, but that's a little different because this is.
And we've done the Manifest It Now ones.
Yeah, we've done the Manifest It Now, but also like the Future Self workshop. And this is like getting to spend a whole day and dive in and actually get to take people through all the exercises and really make huge shifts. And I'm just excited because I love coaching every week in the Enchanted Circle, and I'm excited for this 8 hours of let's get in and do it. And I know, money will be manifested that day because that's just the way it works. And so I'm excited to see all the stories too.
Yeah, that is exciting. So for our listeners who would love to jump on that opportunity, how do they find it?
Just go to cassieparks.com and click on Learn How to Manifest Money Live Virtual, which is right on the front page at the top. So cassieparks.com.
Awesome. And it's going to be what day?
It's going to be November 1st. Yeah.
Beauty. Easy.
It's going to be so fun. And it'll have that energy of my freedomversary, because it's actually it will be 7 years. Marks the 7-year anniversary of leaving my job for the last time. So I'm super excited about that. I love days that have That's extra cool. energy.
Yeah. Infused with freedom.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Yes. What are you excited about?
I feel excited about this time of year. I feel excited just the fall, the energy feels nothing without anything specific. It feels exciting. Like I've been noticing it when I wake up and when I'm like moving through my days. It's like strange knowing it's October and there's, 3 months left in the year is giving me this feeling of it's comfort or cozy, but laced with excitement. I don't know. So it feels just fun to observe that.
Yay. I love that. I know.
Yeah.
The trees are all turning colors and it's super fun.
It's like when I flip through Instagram and I like see one of those pictures that has fall colors and it's so deep and rich and I'm just like, I literally have a body reaction. I'm like, yes,
I know.
Like that's what it feels like right now, and I'm like feeling that all the time, and it's awesome.
Oh, that is awesome. Yay. I love it.
So jumping into our topic, where do you want to, we have different experiences with this, which I think is going to be cool to pull from, but where do you want to start with our topic today?
So, like we said, this came from a listener who was like, basically, we think it was about a business. Like, how do I start a business when I have a full-time job? And what was it? The question was actually like, make space, right?
Yeah. How do I balance that? Like, not trying to do everything. So still maintain my alignment while building this business, even though it's going to be extra things I'm doing, which could be extra work.
Yes, which my number one thing is do way less than you think you should. So
and I will just follow that with, I don't know if I've said this before, but when I do less, I have a much more successful experience in my business.
Me too. And that is what led. And so for me, maybe we should just tell our stories a little bit before.
Sure.
I have like, if you've listened for a while, I basically like say I have like 2 LOA journeys, and, it's like when I was doing it wrong and when I figured it out, and I did it wrong for a long time, and I pushed trying to leave my job. And so I was trying to build a business so I could leave my job, and I worked really hard, and looking back, like a lot of times I'm like, what was I doing? Because I know what I do now, and I'm like, what was I doing? And I had a lot of great ideas and a lot of things that have spiraled, but I thought it was the stuff, right? I remember there was one year, and I was like, I'm going to put out a product every month, because I was convinced that like having 12 products was going to be the way to do it, right? By the way, I had never really sold a product. So, but I was like 12 products, that's the key. And I mapped them out, and there's some cool manifesting stories with some of those, but it's, if I were to do it again and I wanted a business, what I would do first and foremost for the first 90 days is, if it were me, like I would script, and I would script the experience I want, because what I did a lot of in my life was create the experience that I didn't want, which is more work and more work and more work and more work, until it got to the point where I just said, like, this isn't worth it in a way. And I just stopped doing it all so that I could live my life, because I was missing out on my life trying to get a business to work, which, by the way, obviously this is why I wasn't attracting clients who wanted that life.
Yes. Wait. Let's highlight that for a second. So because you weren't being the example of what you wanted to teach, like you were working, and part of what you wanted to teach was using LOA and finding the path of least resistance, creating a life of freedom, but you weren't being free. So that's one of the reasons that wasn't working for Cass. Like, it's really important to take the energy of what you want to experience because of whatever you're starting that's new now.
Yeah. And let's be clear. I don't even think I was clear enough. Like when you said like all the things I was trying to create, or like that I wanted to teach, I wasn't even clear enough about that. I wasn't clear I wanted to teach freedom.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't clear because I was just trying to put stuff out I thought people wanted. And I missed I had no connection. Like now, I did this in my own work, and I teach it to my clients, like paving the path to your paying client, so that you're actually involving your client. You're not just putting stuff out that's like, oh, I want this, or I wish someone would buy this type of a thing. I was so focused on the work that I missed what people were, I went through a phase where I had Loving Yourself University, because loving yourself is something that I really valued. And I went somewhere, and I was,
oh my gosh, I remember that.
Right?
That's when I came into your world, I think, when you were starting that. And I'm like, oh yes, Cassie, she's all about self-love.
Yeah.
And
which I still am. I just teach it differently.
Yeah. I mean, we all are.
Money is the best self-love. Well, for me, it's the best way to teach that, because we learn that. We learn to be open to receive. But I wasn't even clear. I just knew I wanted to create something. And I knew the things that I wanted to teach, but I had no connection because I was pushing so hard is the point I want to make. I wasn't even connected. Like when Jenny said freedom, I was like, oh, I wasn't, that wasn't even on the radar. Like I can't tell you other than self-love what I was trying to draw people into my world. I know that I wanted to change their life. I knew that I had a bunch of things that I had changed and shifted, and I wanted to teach, and I wanted to, I thought I wanted to speak, which I still love speaking. It's just become a different version. It was a how, actually. Speaking was a how. I love to speak. For sure, if you have a big event and you want me to speak at it in the future, invite me. I won't say no. I'm just saying that I was really trying to force it because it was a how. Oh, this will make my business work if I become a speaker, right?
Yes. Can I ask you one question, just jumping back a bit? So when you were working corporate and was it like, I got to get out of this job, or was it like, I want to do something new? Like, were you running away from something, or were you moving towards what you wanted?
But it was both, right? Because I had always wanted, so I went to school. I thought I was going to be a counselor. I got my master's in counseling. And as I went through that program, I was like, this isn't going to work for me. I need something faster. And something came into my life, and I started studying that process. And it was a type of energetic healing that used a lot of different modalities, color, light, sound. And so I was trying to build a practice around that. So I wanted my own business, but I had always wanted that, right? So I don't think I'd ever really stopped to get clear. I just knew, and keep in mind at this point, my story was money chaser. I just knew that I wanted a business. Like I wanted to be an entrepreneur. That's who I've always been. And so in some ways running away because I didn't love it, but also I was trying to create what I'd always wanted, right? So when I thought I was going to be a counselor, I thought I'd have my own practice and I would see people. But I think what got lost, and now I can see this as we're talking about it, is part of that forcing was I had been trying to do it for so long. I really just wanted my own business. And yeah, so it wasn't clear enough, which the energy wasn't clear enough of what I was moving towards. That took a shift. And once I made that shift and I was clear about where I was going, everything fell into place so easily. So
what did you get clear about in that time?
What I really wanted. So I was overwhelmed by everything I was trying to do, right? And I was trying to market. And I had all these great marketing ideas, which, by the way, are pretty close to, they're similar to things I do now. They're just different. I had all these things. And so I was trying to put together all of this stuff, but I didn't have the time. And I also didn't have, what do I want to call it? I didn't have the LOA-ness to execute them. The energy wasn't there. Like the attraction factor wasn't there to execute them because I wasn't spending, I was spending all of my energy in the doing and none of it in the being. Yes. But I thought I was doing the being.
Yes.
And so the shift came when I almost remember like physically letting go, like this is too much. I want to live my life. Like, and saying to myself, what do you really want? And that's when I went back. Like, I want to be financially independent. It's not about a business. It's about having the choice to go to work or not.
I like get so excited talking about this topic, and just like around this time, the energy around this time in someone's life is so exciting. It's like, yes, possibilities are always endless to us, always. Right. But there's something about like shifts like this of really owning what do I really want and stepping into that. And it happens a lot. Well, it happens in all areas, in your health, and owning in your health, owning in your relationships, and owning in your career. But it is that, it's just so exciting. And I'm sharing because be excited about this time. Like, know that this is an important, like, let yourself be excited to be a little lost. Like, that's okay. And then follow what we're doing or what we're saying.
Yeah. So, and then I let go, and I was like financial independence, and it was like boom. And I just let it, like, I didn't do anything. I was like, yeah, that's what I want. And that is the moment where, even though I wasn't maybe necessarily doing it like I would teach in a more guided way now. And I would do it, if I had known what I know now, then I would do it this way. But I would, that is when I started to open up the space of what does that actually look like? And what does that actually feel like? Like, that's where I started getting the clarity. And, that's what started opening. And then that is when inspiration started hitting. And that is when some self-love, like extra self-love, kicked in. You know, one of my biggest inspirations that really led down this path to financial independence. I mean, this was all it, but it came after just a weekend of totally taking care of myself and giving lots of space and honoring and sleeping in and just wandering and, you know, getting a massage or whatever I did that weekend. I just remember it was full of self-love in a way.
And it was the opposite of trying to build a business.
I done no work that weekend. Yeah. None.
Yes.
And then it opened up one of the biggest inspirations that led down the path to my financial independence. Either, I always forget if it was 6 months later or a year and 6 months later, but it doesn't matter because it happened. That's very quickly, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
And I could figure it out. It's just not, it's not important to me because what's important to me is here is the path and it happens super quick. Right. So, yeah, just probably 6 months. So what's your story on this?
So mine is, very different. Firstly, I don't think I ever have had a full-time, I mean, not a corporate job. I've had full-time work, but it's been doing things. I mean, I have to say, it's always been important to me to do things I love, and I would never settle, or not for long. And so if I was working a position that wasn't totally lighting me up, it changed very quickly. Like, a new opportunity came in, or I would transition to something else. But when I was first getting into, I don't know if we should probably tell like how we got into it at some point. Yeah. But so when I realized, hey, law of attraction coach is a thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was like an immediate resonating with me. And so I just started following the path and doing certification. And at that time, I was also personal training, and I had just moved again to a new location. And I was personal training because I enjoyed it, because I love the interaction, I love being physical. And it's that same kind of connection of being able to guide someone's transformation. And so I was doing that while I was building or learning to be a coach. And I guess you could say building my practice, building my coaching. But it's funny that you said what you would do different, Cass. Like, so I had a lot of time on my hands. That's what I did, is I just practiced my alignment. I scripted, I daydreamed, I went for walks, I worked out, I hung out with friends. Like, and I was very deliberate during that time of like, this is your setup time. This is your foundational time. So of course there was times in that when there wasn't a lot of money coming in, which I always had enough because of personal training, but it wasn't overflowing. And I would have those moments of like, you should be working on your business. And then, but I was very deliberate about, but you're finding alignment, you're finding alignment, and really practicing trusting that. And so, yeah, I would wake up at like my whole morning would be alignment practice. And I would count that as building my business, which was super powerful for me. And even looking back, I would have done it a little bit differently now, knowing what I know as well, like getting a little bit more clear. And even, I know this is funny to say, but probably a little more structured. Even though it served me well. But that was, and so for me, everything was very natural and has been my whole journey, but it's kind of like there's been parts of my path where I try to go, when I get caught up in the doing and then I get pulled into that for a second. So when we're talking about like how to build a business or how to start something new when you have a full-time job, I guess it's a little different for me because I had a kind of like 2 part-time jobs. So it was a very natural transition, and then I didn't stop one until the income for the other was sufficient. And so it was very, and that's what I wanted. That's kind of like the way I created it.
Yeah, that is, well, I did eventually create it because my other business was investments. But that's what I wanted. That's what I was trying to force is exactly what you did, is this other income takes over. And yeah, it was a lot of forcing. I did a lot of good things in that time. So there was a lot of forcing.
Yeah. I think that's one of like a really powerful belief or something to start creating about your reality, is that this doesn't have to be major or hard or dramatic. Like this can be a smooth transition. That was always really important for me. And look, I practiced that 2 years before it ever happened, is that I was definitely desiring to be a full-time coach before it happened. Like, but that's the whole process of manifestation and creation, is like moving towards your desire and closing that gap. And I forget why I was saying that, but it's, choose to take on this can be an easy thing, so that you're not trying to create it. If you just start owning, like, I'm doing it, I'm creating it, and it's going to be a smooth transition, you will create that. If you stick to that belief system. It doesn't work if you're like, okay, I'm gonna make it smooth, and then the next day you're like, but how am I gonna work this out? Okay, well, I'm gonna make it smooth, but I'm gonna work this out. Go flopping back and forth. You gotta go in to the reality you guys are creating. You gotta go into that.
Absolutely.
Go all in.
Yeah. And so it's the full reality, right? And so one of the things that for me, if you've heard my money story, my money journey, one of the things that I was doing in that time while trying to force my business, I was working on my money mindset. I was gaining those skills, which eventually transitioned. And I was like, okay, it can be easy to build a business, and it can be easy to leave my job. That I had a lot of.
Okay, wait, can I stop you for a sec? I want to just like explain that in another way. So you were doing the vibrational work. So the part of being a successful business owner is having this money mindset that matches what you want. Part of being a successful business owner is having the confidence, knowing the value you offer. So that's the work you do. That's the vibrational work you do. This beingness, this stepping into this, all these things, before you ever try to go figure out what the business is going to be or how it's going to be. That is you vibrationally lining up with it.
Yes. Yeah. And I was definitely doing that work while, trying to force the business. But because when I finally let that go, all of that money mindset work that I had done, I mean, it was working, right? It was just working in my job. I was getting that. It was making more and more money in my job. It wasn't translating to my business, right?
That's
right. Yeah. And
I don't want the money to come from here. I want it to come from there.
Right. Yeah. And so I was really good. I mean, I did some, really cool manifesting when it came to my job and money and other ways money came in, but it definitely wasn't coming from my business because I was trying to force that. Right. And because I didn't have the belief yet fully. So what I did was I really amped up, I'm worthy of this amount of money. I can create this amount of money. I can save this amount of money. I can be really good with money. I built up all of these beliefs. And then the thing that I, once I kind of let go is I can make money and it can feel good. I can make money doing what I love. And then that's really starting to practice that. And I can make money easily, right? And the more I practice that, the more investment potential came and the more money came to support making those investments.
That's powerful. I think that's one of the big things that stops people from making that shift or even starting to go after it, is just that question, can I really, and I 100% had this, can I really make enough money to doing what I love? To have not just support me, I want to have a great life. Can I really do that? Even though we see the evidence from millions of people in the world, it's still that question within us. And that's where you start. Don't try to find the solution to what's going to fix that in you, and it's not fixing, but strengthen the vibration, the belief in you, just like Cass was saying, then the path unfolds.
Yes.
So building that belief of like, I can do what I love, and I trust that I can do what I love and make a shit ton of money. And lots of people then do it. Why can't I do it? And it's you building that belief is definitely going to be a part of this transition. I can make money doing what I love. You can. Oh my gosh. If I could translate one belief into your brain, it's possible.
Yeah. And what I want to say in this moment is that I actually didn't know Jenny had to work on that belief because I thought that was natural. And so if Jenny Gane had to work on that belief, I'm going to say, of course, you're going to have to elevate and open up to that. Because if there's one person who wasn't, I would have guessed it would be Jenny. I'm pretty clear on the things that I had to work through in terms of beliefs. But if I actually didn't think Jenny would say that, I've never actually heard it before. So, which is awesome because the point I'm trying to make is that this is part of the process, right? Opening up to this. And it's, sometimes even when we see other people do it, it's like, but can I? And that is the work. Like, getting clear about what you want, like owning your worthiness, like shifting your money mindset, opening up to the belief that you can make a shit ton of money doing what you love is, and that for me came after, right? First, I had to believe I could get free. I just wanted time. I just wanted to pay my bills. And so I got, financially free to pay my bills, right? I wasn't making my salary. I was like, I just want to be free because that was important to me. Way more important than my salary was, like just not having to go to work, right? And getting to do whatever I wanted. And so those are all of the things that generally, like I skipped a lot of those when I was trying to build a business. When you go do the actions and you create a product or you do whatever, or you start designing this thing or that thing, if it's inspired, great, and it feels really good and fun, awesome. But when you're doing those because you think that's what you need to build a business to get out, those are all house. And what the work really that you need to do that makes it easy is opening up and shifting your beliefs and believing you can make money doing what you love and getting clear about what it's going to feel like and what it's going to be like when you're living that life.
Yeah. Alignment first, guys. Alignment first and forever. That's going to be my new tagline.
Yeah, because that's it. Which was why I started to make money in my coaching business when I quit my job, because I was like, I have to do it differently. I don't know what it's like to be successful, which is why I went to work scripting, because I'm like, this is the only way I knew in that moment to get the feeling of what I wanted that I didn't know what it felt like. I knew what it felt like to not be successful. I knew what it was like not to sell a bunch of programs or to get a bunch of clients, right? I knew what it was like to get a few clients, but I didn't know what it was like to get a lot of clients. And so I went to work scripting what that felt like, because I knew I needed to know what that felt like in order to be more of that person.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Where I'd start. If I was telling anyone where to start, that would be it.
Yeah. I was going to say, to kind of like summarize or wrap it up, the biggest thing is to get away from doing and into being, getting clear about what is it you really want, what's that experience, and then practice the experience, practice the beliefs, step into the person before you try to build the business. And so getting really specific about when you're working a full-time job and how do you start something new, I would pick a time a day, pick a certain amount of time a day, and make that time you're aligning with your new business time. And it's nothing to do with actions towards starting the business. It's not to do with building a following. It's to getting into that vibrational place first for long enough. Like, it's not going to take long, but I love a month, 2 months, 3 months. And by 3 months, you're already going to be noticing and seeing those things come into place. But stay with that, because it's the juice, it's the magic to what makes that work.
Yeah. And I would wrap up by using these questions. So when you ask, what do I want? Make sure you ask after that, what do I really want? Which we've talked about why that's important before. And then, especially when it comes to like business or building a new thing, I would ask myself, is this a how? Like, do I want this because I believe this will get me closer to what I really want? So checking in with those hows, like for sure, if I would have asked that question, is this a how? I would have not done a lot of the things that I did because I would have realized like this is a how.
Yeah. Love it. All right, guys. Well, enjoy. Hope you enjoyed that. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Go be awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Manifest It Now show, where you learn how to leverage the law of attraction to manifest your dreams. Now that you're inspired, share the love and review us on iTunes. While you're there, remember to subscribe.